Good afternoon, everyone. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Just give me a quick mic check, make sure we're all good to go. But other than that, today was a pretty down day. I don't think there was too much going on. It was relatively low volume. I know that everyone pretty much had their funds not being settled in their trading accounts, primarily because of the fact that it is Columbus Day. So that was a little bit of a bummer. We also had relatively low volume, of course, being that it is that holiday. So that was just some downfalls off of today. But of course, I think we're setting up more so for fireworks towards the end of the week. Of course, market is going to be waiting on that key inflation data to be coming out later on in the week. We do have quite a bit of Fed speakers, I believe, starting tomorrow. Wednesday, we have quite a few. And then we'll see what those onslaught of data is going to bring to us from Thursday. So that's what I'm going to look for. I got to say, looking at quite a few charts before the close there, I did see quite a few setups. It does give me a little bit of an indication that we should rally tomorrow. Now, how significant that's going to be, that's a bigger question mark left to be seen tomorrow. But I do feel like we're going to have a little bit of a rally, and I'm kind of go off in the sense that I see a lot of setups, in which case we have multiple points of indicating trendline supports. We have patterns that are setting up for pretty much bullish impulse for a lot of descending broadening wedges type of action. So I'll get into those as you guys pretty much, if you have any names to look at. Otherwise, Alobo, what's going on, my guy? EMPH, I will take a look at it. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Tom actually wrote about it in the newsletter this week, particularly, but I will take a look at it for you. All right. As I get in really quickly, and then going in through futures real quick, so we can get this going. What you basically see here on futures is you can see a larger degree megaphone. You see a smaller degree megaphone, you could say, off of a little slant trendline support, in which that was a little bit of the miniature megaphone that was taking place, and we saw the convincing breakdown that took place on Friday. Right now, we're pretty much flirting right near my support on futures. 35.9, is what I'm looking at for support. We got close enough to that intraday around lunch hour today. So 35.96 is going to be my support that I'm watching right now. Otherwise, we take out 35.96, then we're likely flirting with a new bear market low. That's going to go below 35.71, and my next key level support that I have, which will be a major support, will be 35.08 is what I'm watching for the downside. All right. Now, like I mentioned, kind of just things that are giving me a little bit of a sign of an indication going into tomorrow. We could be flirting a little bit with a inverted head and shoulders. We'll see how futures kind of play out here. But a very miniature inverted head and shoulders. I actually thought that that would pop towards the end of the day. That was not necessarily the case. You basically had a little bit of a left shoulder right here. Your right shoulder was more so a pennant, if I want to say so. If I draw it out, you could basically see the pennant that took place into the end of the day. But we necessarily kind of just broke down towards our support level that we kind of consolidated for most of the afternoon. So we're gonna see how that ends up playing out. Key level support that I'm particularly watching here would be roughly around 36.15 going into our wee hours of the night here, if you want to say. So as long as we hold that 36.15, I think that we should be able to pretty much consolidate and get that leg up higher to retest what was a prior trendline support off of that miniature trendline support here, miniature megaphone that we had. I would expect if we get the pop, we get a move back over 36.44, then I'm going to look to see if we can get that broader market rally and we can retest up close towards 3700 and retest what was a prior trendline support. That's if we get the broader market rally. If we don't, vice versa, like I said, you're looking for the breakdown on the 35.96 and you're looking to see how aggressively that takes place. And if we take out that low dating back towards October 2nd. All right. So that's looking at futures. Lobo, let me actually get into the ticker that you mentioned. Let's see EMPH. So I remember we actually talked about this because if I actually zoomed out, I know we had the larger degree megaphone that took place. The bigger thing is pretty much identifying the overhead resistance, trendline resistance. You basically see that it did fall short of that trendline resistance. Then going back, dialing back down into the 4 hour here, you see your head and shoulders that played out. You saw the leg down right below that neckline. And so I would anticipate that you're going to get the retest here. If that's going to take place with the broader market, giving us that rally that I'm more so tempted to say that it's very likely. I'm going to look for a break here over 264. you're gonna watch for that push towards 273, and that 273 level is gonna be that key level that you want to pretty much look to take profits if you are looking to go long. But otherwise, 273 rejects. That'll be the ideal spot that I would look to see. If you do get that rejection, you look for entry on puts, and then that should get your continuation back to the downside, taking out that low that you had from this morning, and making your way down towards the gap fill. So if I actually pretty much highlight what is our indicator that I know Sig and Dapper created so nicely here for us, it actually outlines the gap fills for you, which I think is just beautiful. I don't have to draw gaps anymore, but you do have that beautiful gap sitting below 229 here, which is the beautiful part about that. If it rejects that 273 mark, you take out that low, and you obviously see where you're targeting towards that gap fill below. All right, but otherwise, right now for this 4 hour, it's looking to base off of that 200 EMA, and that's why I would say watch for the break over 263 half. You get the push towards 273 at that neckline, and see if that acts as a resistance, or if you get a further recovery, in which case over 273 you may make a larger degree push, and I would watch for your next level resistance towards 297. All right, but that actually should be pretty nice. Love the new TFC indicator. I'm not gonna lie, it's actually a lifesaver. It literally saves the time of having to draw out potential supply and demand zones, having to draw out those gaps. It has been a lifesaver. I can literally look at a chart, drop my EMAs on it, and I can tell you pretty much level by level what I'm looking at. It saves so much time than having to draw out every single chart, and not only just drawing out identifying patterns, but you literally just identify the gaps, identify potential or large areas of volume, which kind of acts more so as your supply to demand, and it literally works like a charm. So that was pretty much something I want to outline. Going through really quickly, that's what I wanted to just say as I started off mentioning that I'm a little bit bullish more so. I'm looking at some charts here, pretty much ideally looking, and I'm going to drop off the indicators here. But what I'm actually looking at is a lot of names that are pretty much having key levels of support. And which I'm looking at is you have three endpoints on a trendline support here off of Microsoft that creates a megaphone here. I'm looking to see if we can build off of this. As long as we can hold this 228 low tomorrow, I'm looking to see if we can pretty much put in a higher low off of this 4 hour chart, well, hourly chart, and look to see if we can build back up towards making a bigger recovery. In which case, I'm looking for the broader market rally tomorrow. But that's what I'm looking at is basically highlighting is the three endpoints that creates this downward trend line support is what I'm pretty much more so trying to indicate for you. All right. So that's Microsoft. Another one that I was pointing to was also Tesla. Tesla has just a tight little falling wedge action that's taking place here. Again, another one that has basically this one actually has about 2 to 3 endpoints here, all the way starting at the top, dating back towards the 23rd. You have double wicks aligning here off of the October 3rd, and this wedge is getting tighter and tighter as you can see. So watching to see if we end up taking out this low from this morning, take out the low at 218.36, and then we're potentially looking towards 210. Otherwise, if you're looking to pretty much get a breakout, get some kind of meaningful reversal, I'm watching a break north over 226. Over 226, then I'm targeting 233, 236.83, and then 239.59, which is just above that gap fill. All right, but that's another one. Key thing to note here is obviously key levels of endpoints for your trendline support off of the falling wedge, and the wedge getting tighter itself. That's pretty much what's outlined to me there. I could also point out to, I believe Netflix is one that I actually mentioned about in the swing channel. I actually love this setup. This has been one of my favorite setups. Is watching the descending broadening wedge that's taking place. Broadening wedge. You get a break here over this 232 mark. I'm looking for the gap fill to take place. If I outline the gap fill here for you, you can basically see it's a beautiful gap that's going to take place up close enough towards 240, and that should be a beautiful move tomorrow, as Netflix was showing that relative strength since market open. So that's another one I'll keep an eye on. Let's see what else going down the list that I can pretty much touch basis on. Nvidia has been another one. This is another one that has multiple endpoints off of this downward sloping trendline support. You can see the endpoints dating back towards September 6th, another one dating back towards September 23rd, and you hit it again September 29th, and yet again today. So four different endpoints that have actually created this downward sloping trendline support. And again, looking to see if we can create a higher low. As long as we hold 115 half, I'm going to look to see if we can put in that higher low and create a higher high tomorrow, breaking north over 119 half. All right. So that's another one I'm going to keep an eye on. You could also pretty much call this another descending broadening wedge action that's taking place. Let's see how this reacts towards making a higher low. Otherwise, you end up breaking below 115 half. Now this becomes a scenario where we're looking for a new bear market low on the video. All right. So that's another one I'm keeping an eye on. I touched basis on quite a few going down the pretty much down the entire slip here of mega cap tech. Another one that I've been looking at a little bit within a range that I've been pretty much looking to buy long term more so. But between 131 up towards 135, that's been a zone that I've been keeping an eye on, particularly. But you can also definitely see there's a larger degree little descending channel action that's taking place. You can basically see the median off of this channel that you can like, basically see dating back towards September 9th. You had a beautiful gap up over the median. You rejected the median dating back towards September 21st. You teetered as resistance to support between the end of the month of September. And now we're just kind of getting a little bit of a tighter range here right now since Friday to today. So I'm going to look to see if we get the break north over 135, put this up towards a resistance at 139 to get that little gap fill that's dating back towards last week on the 6th. And then we'll see if we get a push over that gap fill here, over that 139. That's going to be where the larger degree move is going to take place. Otherwise, this may end up just being a one-day wonder tomorrow as the market looks for some type of potential rally ahead of data. All right. So this is the one again I'll keep an eye on. Otherwise, you're looking for the breakdown. Look for the breakdown here below 132. Then I'm going to be looking for this to take out towards my support. I'm watching 130.76. All right. So quite a few names I kind of touch basis on. Hopefully, kind of just gives you a little bit of an idea. Just looking at key support levels, I think a lot of things are bounced off of those key support levels intraday here this morning. We're trying to put in that higher low tomorrow is what my bigger sentiment is to echo across the board. If we can manage to put in those higher lows tomorrow, I think that's going to be the positive sign to maybe even go red to green potentially tomorrow, if not actually gap up. All right. But other than that, I think that's kind of short and sweet for right now. It's been relatively a low volume day today. We do have one Fed speaker tomorrow. I believe it's Mester, if I'm not mistaken. I believe she is actually speaking tomorrow at noon. So that'll be something we potentially look to see if there's any kind of intraday whiplash out of any comments that come from her. And then we'll look to see what Fed speakers we have coming on Wednesday once we regroup tomorrow afternoon. All right. But other than that, I think that's short and sweet for right now. Let's see what the market gives us tomorrow, and we will go from there then, all right? Other than that, appreciate you guys joining. As always, I will wrap it up. Keep it short and sweet. You guys have a great evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow.